How does learning happen? Well, let me tell you about it. How does learning happen is a set of principles that early childhood educators hold in high regard. They're going to tell you about it when you work in that field, let me assure you. I mean, I've worked in the field for years, and just check out this sweet shirt I got. I am educator. I value belonging. And right on the back, we got the ask me about how learning happens. So I've been sporting this philosophy for years. The aspect of how does learning happen that I chose to focus in on my report was the aspect of belonging. Now, belonging refers to a sense of connectedness or how valued an individual feels while they're in a group setting or a part of a community. It also ties into their relationship with the natural world around them and whether they feel they belong there as well. So, we've gotten the definition. Now let's move on to some reflection about what we think of how we can establish belonging. Which policies and practices may be barriers to establishing relationships and ensuring the meaningful participation of all children and all families? Now, while I see why these policies and procedures are in place, the world isn't always black and white, and there can always be some nuance that could be invoked by a registered ECE professional, though they have to stick to the policies and procedures very firmly. So for example, one of them is how you can't, in a daycare, you're not supposed to give children nicknames. You should call them by their full name. And why I see this is important, because that way you're learning each child's name and helping to foster that sense of belonging. Just for example, I give all my friends nicknames, and I'm a very nicknamey person, or sometimes, calling a kid buddy or pal or something can actually make them feel nice. But I understand why that policy is there, and at the same time. Another one is conflict of interest. So if you are taking care, that's a policy that is there for a good reason. But say you're taking care of a family for 6 years, and then they ask you, hey, could you babysit on the weekend? It's like you actually have gotten to know these families, but you can't get to know them on a personal level. You shouldn't be going out after work and hanging out with the parents. And the reason for this is a good one. Say something happens outside of work and then it's affecting your work relationship, but your work can't do anything about it because it happened outside of work. So again, it makes sense why it's there, but I could see it also helping develop a connectedness in a community if the families and the ECs could come together and have potlucks or something like that. What else can be done to strengthen relationships and ensure social inclusion, participation, and a sense of belonging for each child and family? Well, there's a lot of things that you can implement in the classroom to improve and foster a sense of belonging. One, for example, is having pictures of families up and around the room, making sure you have a relationship with each child so that they're excited to come to daycare and tell you about their day. And, that they view you as someone that they can come to and talk to and have fun hanging out with. It's also huge to represent all the different range of cultures that you're going to find within a daycare setting. So maybe if a family speaks Arabic at home, you come in and label some of the toys with the Arabic words for that. So, they see their home life and a sense of inclusion happening in their daycare, and there's an element of it as well where all the toys in the room itself has to be accessible to all the children. This includes furniture. They're not going to feel like they belong if they walk in and everything's adult-sized. And, they have to ask the adult to get them all the toys. They need to be able to access that and to make their own choices about how their day goes and what activities they're going to play. Being child-led helps with belonging as well. And this is going along with if there's a child with an exceptionality in the room, and perhaps they find it hard to sit still in a chair, so they have a wiggle chair. When that child's playing or doing something else, that chair can also be, there's no reason why it can't be accessible to every child within the room, because on different days, different people are going to struggle to sit still, you know? So yeah, that sense of belonging is huge. There's also conversations you can have with your class as well about belonging, and just making sure that, you know, people are doing their best to not exclude, and to speak nicely to each other, and to let each other know each other's feelings and identify their feelings, and have a safe space that can help foster belonging as well. If you could make one change to strengthen relationships in your placement, what would it be? If you could make another change tomorrow, what would it be? Well, while I'm not at placement because I was exempt from previous work experience, the daycare I work at, I would strengthen the relationships with my coworkers. You know, it's been a while since I've seen them on a steady basis, and it's always nice to have a little staff outing. You know, you have a good time when you all go out together for something that's not exactly work related, and when you get along with the staff in the room, that's all part of fostering that sense of belonging as well, because, you know, children pick up on that, and you've got to be cohesive in your approach to dealing with the class and have good communication with each other to make sure you're not giving conflicting messages to the children. If I could make another change tomorrow, it would be to, you know, implement some time where a circle time, an advantageous circle time, where everybody's ready to sit down. Could even be snack time, where everybody's chilling, and have a nice talk with each other about, everybody picks the person to the right of them and says one thing they appreciate about that person, or one nice thing that person has done for them, just to show that, you know, they do know each other in this room, and that everybody has something nice to say about everybody else. Now I'm going to reflect on this. Consider a child whose behavior you find difficult. What possibilities might exist if you were to view the child's behavior and intentions from the child's point of view and from the child's desire for relationships? I'm looking at one particular child that I've taken care of in the past, and while I got along with them really, really well, had a great rapport with this child, their behaviors could be very difficult because they were prone to violent outbursts with other children and also with staff. Very hands-on. This child seemed to get angry quite a lot, and we took care of them before and after school, and they would show up upset, and they would be upset because of what happened at school. And I always do try to put myself into the shoes of the children, to be honest, and try to see, understand where they're coming from and why they are acting in the way, because there's always a causation. And I believe that with this child, they struggled in school, and their parents were very authoritative, and had very high expectations on them, and they couldn't handle the pressure. And while they were very gifted, talented, and smart, they were actually struggling a lot in school because of their behaviors and constantly being sent to the office. So understood. I always just tried to validate their feelings and say, yeah, it makes sense that you're mad. And it makes a lot of sense that you're mad, and you can be mad, but please just don't put your hands on, you know? But, you know, it's hopefully these constant reassurances and reminders are going to assist them throughout their life, and they're going to think of it and maybe make some choices. You know, nobody's perfect, everyone makes bad choices, but maybe some of the choices can be guided through these this impact that I was lucky enough to have on this child. Anyway, that is my assignment. Hope you enjoyed it and got a little bit from my perspective on how does learning happen, with the focus on belonging. Thank you.